You guys really want me to build a freighter, huh? Alright, well, let's do it. Ahoy, salty dogs! So, welcome to StarMade. So, we are not on the Star Squadron server currently. We're actually in a creative world, single-player world, so we can build this ship together. It felt like it would be a good idea to do this in single-player. I've got a couple of halfway finished ships kind of floating around that I either scrapped or decided not to use or something like that. But we're going to build this in creative just because it's really hard to build in in survival. And well, it's not, but the concept you'll see. So the ship we're building today, we're working on a freighter, like I said in the intro kind of thing. And I have a pretty cool idea for this. So imagine a revolver, the chamber for a revolver, so instead of bullets, we're going to have cargo pods. That's my plan. So we need to build a mechanism that will hold, ideally it would hold 6, but with the limitations of StarMade, we're going to make it to hold 8 pods. And then they'll have to be able to be loaded from the salty shipyard into the revolver, and maybe we'll even have them fire out of it. That'd be kind of cool. But that's going to be the idea for the ship. So we're going to go ahead and spawn in the ship. It doesn't matter what the name is. And the first thing we're going to do is work on the revolver chambers. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, so that way's the front. I'm not sure how big this is going to have to be. Let's just build out a gray hull at first. And we're going to need to set some symmetry. We'll do this. Let's see. We want it to go... The pods are 9 by 9 by 17. So I'm going to have to do some measuring to figure out the size of these things. Give me a little bit. I'm going to work on this, get it started. And this will be one of those kind of build a little bit, show a progress update, build a little bit more, progress update kind of videos. All right, so got a little bit going. This is where the pods go. This is just 9. They're going to extend out this way. This is a 9 by 9 square inside these pluses or whatever. So the plan is basically to copy this and paste it again and turn it 45 degrees so that these are also here. That's going to give us our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 docking points for the cargo pods without having really to work out like wedges and stuff. Hopefully this is enough space in between. We're going to make it as compact as we can though, so we may shorten this distance, but we're going to have to copy this and paste it in before we know exactly how much space. Because I mean, I guess I could count from here to here, but we'll trial and error it instead. Cool, so here we are with the second part docked. Yeah, I think we could pull it in maybe 1 or 2 more blocks, so let's do that. All right, so I cut it down a little bit. They were 10 blocks from the center, and now they are 8 blocks from the center. Of course, I'm talking about these bits. Something looks weird on that one. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. It's still the same shape. It's just kind of like this bit is off center, but these are right. So it should work okay. Let's go ahead and try and dock this and see if that fits. Yeah, that's close. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. That way they are basically touching. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've got that part figured out, we can kind of flesh it out and give it a little bit of decoration and some shape and make sure that it looks more like a gun barrel. No, a revolver, kind of, what do you call it, like the chamber, I guess? Not like the chamber. You know what I'm talking about? The wheel part in the middle of a revolver. Okay, anyway, let's do it. All right, so I think this is, whoa, I'm fast. So this is going to be about the shape we're looking for. The size is good. We checked that. So I've got a little bit more of like area where we're going to hold the cargo containers. We'll figure out how that's going to work in just a moment, but the next bit we need to do is go ahead and dock the next section of it, like that. Now it has to be small so that it will rotate, and then now we can build the holders, or whatever they're going to be called, around this. Now what we'll have to do, though, because these are going to be slightly different, is we actually can remove some of these blocks now. We're going to have to build it out a little bit. 1, 2, let's go ahead and do it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is how far away this row is from the center block. And now we need to come forward 3 blocks so that it is in line with the other ones. And now we can do, I'm checking my alignments. So now I think we do this, and we can remove these. Okay, and that should give us, yeah, now we can do this, whoops, like this, and we need this to be 16, because they're 17 long. Okay, and then we can do like that. Beautiful. 2, 3, 4. And then the 5th one, and then 2, let's see, 2, 3, 4, like this. And then we get another block like this, and we get our 16 out. Yeah. And they're perfectly spaced. Oh, that's beautiful. And now we can just rotate this a quarter turn every time we want to get a new pod. And that's how we're going to be able to load our pods into it. Aha, okay, so one thing I want to change about this design before we go any further on this. I like the design, actually. This works out really, really well. One thing we're going to do, though, is that I don't like are these gaps here. So we're going to try and fill those somehow. I'm thinking what we'll do is we're just going to delete this second bit. Because we have to build it in place, or or it won't align properly. So what we're gonna do is hop back into the first bit and put blast doors, and we can turn off the blast doors, build this part, and then hopefully that will work for us and look okay as well. So we'll need like that. Fortunately, it's going to be super easy to do this. Now I think all we need is that, because we got it pretty close. So let's just close these blast doors real quick. Whoops. And we'll have to close all the sets. Yeah, that's good. Okay, all closed. Now we can hop back into the other core and rebuild those bits and open the door, see how that works. Alright, well, I was trying to place them, but we get cannot build here, position is blocked. So we're not going to be able to do the blast door thing. I guess we're just going to have to live with that little gap, which is whatever, man. We can live with it. Not a big deal. Aha, so now is the point of the development phase where we need to decide if we're going to actually make the containers fire out of the front of the ship, or if we're just going to use this as a storage kind of transport kind of thing. I'm leaning towards storage and transport, honestly. I think making them shoot out of the ship would be pretty cool. Oh, what the heck? Let's do it. Why not? You know, that would be cool. So that means we need to remove the front of this. Give the containers a place to go out this way. And then, now that we've got the shape, now that we've got kind of the shape and the style of the holder bits, we can start to build the actual ship around it. Now, this whole section is going to have to rotate. So we got to keep that in mind, which I think we can manage that. I don't think that'll be a problem. The whole thing will have to rotate. So we need this to be attached to the ship. So we got to build the ship around this, but as its own entity. So that means the next thing is figuring out the dimensions of the ship, the shape of it, where the barrel, so to speak, for this revolver bit is, and most importantly, where the core is going to go for the main ship. Oh, here's a problem with our design. Bullets are round. Cargo pods are rectangular. This is not going to work. We're going to have to revisit this. So if I build it so that it will only work with my pods, because they're a little more rounded, everybody else on the server, or at least most people else on the server, have done square cargo containers. Then if I do it just to fit mine, then I can get this kind of shape. Something is off here. This doesn't quite line up. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter. Then this is about as small as I can get it. I might be able to bring it in one more block from every direction. But then I lose the ability to also transport other people's cargo containers. How important is that to me? I'm not really sure. We built this kind of universal cargo system on our server specifically so that we could all kind of trade not just goods but containers as well, if necessary. So I'm gonna have to think about this a little bit more. All right, so I went ahead and built both. I wanted to see how much bigger the default basic standardized, there we go, that's what I'm looking for, the standardized container holder would be compared to the one that would just hold my containers. It's not that much bigger, so I think we'll go with the standard ones. It's a standard for a reason. If kind of defeats the purpose of having standard containers if my ship only accepts one specific kind. So we're going to go with this. All right, so I think that looks good. We got a little bit of a decorative kind of thing going on here with this. Now, the funny part is that most of this is going to be covered up by the actual ship that this module goes into. But whatever, this will work fine. We need to, I think before we start building the ship, though, we've got a couple of more things we need to figure out. Things like the docking mechanisms for the pods. How do we get the pods loaded in? And how do we get them to come out? I think that logic is actually gonna be on the ring instead of in the ship. So we'll need to figure that out. We got lots of room for logic, so that won't be a problem. But we need to figure out how to kind of differentiate each section from each other section. You know, which pod is docked where, and that kind of thing. But it's coming right along. It looks pretty good. I like the decorations a little bit. You know, they're a little primitive, but you know, like I said before, you're probably not gonna see this part very often, if at all. Alright, so now we're back on the Star Squadron server, back at the Salty Shipyard. we're gonna do a little bit of work. I've spent 2 or 3 days not playing StarMade, trying to figure out the logic of how I want to do the rings on that freighter that we're working on. I don't know. I still got to do some more thinking about it. So I figured we would finish the episode by flying into the Dragoon, and we would get some materials together, and I think let's work on, what are we going to work on? The hub pub. Let's work on the hub pub a little bit. We'll get some community stuff going on in this episode as well. I'm gonna, basically, I've got my personal cargo here. I'm just gonna put a whole bunch of crap into this cargo pod, just like this. I'm just gonna throw a ton of stuff in here and see what we get. I don't need these capsules. You know, so we can take our blocks with us as we go and build. Why do I have so many? Oh, it's crystal composite. Okay, let's leave that. Yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna fill up this pod, and we'll go to where the hub pub is and work on that for a little bit. Oh, check it out! I was about to head to the hub pub when I noticed some trading guilds in our space. Looks like a contingency of 2 TIE fighters and a B-wing. That's pretty cool. That's cool. I'm glad to see the trading guild in our space. I don't see them very often. Alright, so we've arrived in neutral space. It looks like the hub pub sign got away from us. It is not near the hub pub any longer. So we're going to go reclaim that real quick, and then we'll get started with our design for the hub pub. I never really liked the idea that I had originally for it, so I think we're going to scrap that and start something new. I have a cool idea in mind with kind of like a little bit of a more modular feeling kind of thing than just like one big building. We're going to have a couple of buildings kind of linked together. I like to do, like, some people lay out their space stations kind of on a plane, like a flat station. I don't like that. I like to have elevators. I like to have depth and height and stuff. Take advantage of all 3 dimensions instead of just one of them. So we're going to try and do that. It doesn't have to be a huge building for this because it is basically just going to be a social meeting area as well as a shop. So I really only need 2 kind of spaces. One, maybe like one space that's like feels like a pub inside. I'll need a second space that maybe like a park or something, a meeting area, or something that feels like a shop. That is definitely not on the same vein as a park, but, you know, so we'll need like a pub, and then like a shop area, and then we'll need a place to keep our cargo. So those are really the only, like, 3 areas that we need. I'm probably not going to make the cargo bit automatic like we have the Salty Shipyard. It'll probably just have a couple of places where you can dock pods to it. And then we'll set it up so that the hub pub can automatically pull cargo out of the pods. And I don't know if you can automatically put things from cargo into a shop, but we can go and do that manually if necessary. What we'll do is we can set something up. We'll negotiate prices with the other Star Squadron members and purchase cargo pods worth of goods, and they can just come deliver them to the hub pub, and we'll pay them upon receipt of goods or something, and get it set up that way. So, okay, I need to reclaim this sign. Floating around in this neutral space like this is not a good place for this. So, I'm gonna grab this. Yeah, it looks like it took damage. Oh, that could be a problem. If there are pirates in this sector, we might have to talk about that with some of the other members. Okay, after placing several blocks, we've got a shape. This is going to be just one of the 3 modules. They're not all going to be shaped the same, but this is actually the shop module. I still have a little bit of work to do. I need to fill in this bottom arc, or this bottom gradient. But that's the idea. I think it's looking pretty cool. We're going to have 2 more modules as well. We'll have probably one in this space and one in this space. The lower one will be storage, and the other one will be the kind of bar hub pub, the actual pub in the hub pub. What else do we want to do? We got to figure out docking. I'm not sure how to do the docking yet, but we'll get to that when we get there. It might dock to this part. That could work. Maybe put some docking areas to the left and the back and the right. That could work, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I am Lenscap, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.